to thank you for accepting my invite. I've been waiting to do this from a very long time.
Yeah, I was kind of very busy. I haven't done many podcast episodes in a long time now because start of this year I had COVID and then things started to go down very slowly. I'm swamped with work. But I'm also glad that you kept following up so we were able to schedule
Yeah, how wouldn't I? Because the
this.
two people who I look up to the most when it comes to freelancing, one is you and other is Shreya Patel.
Right.
So yeah, I
I
got to
am
learn
very
a
glad to
lot
hear
from
that.
you already.
I am very glad to hear that.
I think you don't have like a book of your own, right?
Not yet.
Yeah, because I seen you bit being pretty much successful with the freelance boot camp and
Yeah,
freelancing. Yeah.
I'm planning to do that, but honestly, I'm not very good of writing projects that are personal. So be it writing an ebook or writing the content for my own website, I'm not very consistent with that. Instead, I like keeping it personal. So like a book is something which is passive, right? So people buy it, people read it, but I like one-to-one communication, like communicating with people in real time, and that is why I prioritize consultations and the live masterclasses and boot camps because they have a personal touch to it, which is much better than writing a book which anyone can read anytime. So that's a little better, I feel.
Is it true that you started freelancing in June 2020 that year?
Mm, yeah, I started in June, not June, I started in May 2020, I think so.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
pretty much awesome because I was a nerdy kind of guy, but during COVID I didn't know what to do, and even I explored freelancing. That's how I came in touch with many freelancers.
Right.
So we both had a different journey when it comes to freelancing.
Yeah.
So just I want you to tell about your journey from May 2020 till date. In my case, I splitted myself into different areas. It can be like podcasting, doing freelancing, and I didn't focus my all my energy like you when it come like you focused your energy into writing, but I focused my energy into like making video spokesperson videos for brands and writing some content and designing graphics, editing videos, all those stuff. That's why my
Yeah.
attention got split.
Yeah.
But in your case it wasn't that. I just wanted to know how was your journey started.
Right. So I think pretty much like you said during COVID, I also had nothing to do when the pandemic hit and we were kind of forced to stay inside. I had been at that point of time, I was in my second year of college. I graduated in literature. Then I was in my second year of college, and I wasn't really sure of what to do, how to do that. Before the pandemic, I was dancing. I was in my society. I was the vice president of my dance society in college, and I was leading that. But when the pandemic came and like the lockdown was imposed, we had nothing to do. So I thought maybe, I've done content writing internships before. Maybe I should give another shot at them. Earlier, I got my internships through a platform called Internshala, where every student practically went to get like work from home internships. And so I also went to that platform earlier. But this time around, I wanted a more fruitful internship, something which is more valuable. And that's why I turned to LinkedIn. But LinkedIn was different than any other platform like, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. So I had to kind of navigate it, kind of had to read a lot of blogs and attend webinars and kind of see how people are using the platform because I wanted an internship, nothing else. And so I started using the platform. I started connecting with, since I wanted a content writing internship, I started connecting with writers and editors of like news publications and digital
Hmm.
publications like Scoop Boop, PopXO,
Wow, wow.
uh, and all of these companies, right? And I also started creating content on LinkedIn that maybe they'll notice me, or maybe when I reach out to them, they'll see my profile is active, and then I can take it forward and turn it into an internship opportunity. So started doing all this, creating content, connecting with them. While I was doing that, one day I just received a message in my inbox asking me if I can write for them on a freelance basis. I think that happened when one of my posts blew up on LinkedIn, I think in the second month of me using LinkedIn. It was a post about my startup at the age of 16, and that's what actually got me like 4 5 gigs in a matter of like a week. And the first one was I think the owner of a lab testing platform who reached out to me and asked me if I can write for them on a freelance basis. I'd never done that before, but then I thought that okay, this is something new. Maybe I should try it, and then I gave it a go. And then the next project and the next project, I learned that this is really interesting, much more interesting than internships. Because honestly, I had done about 4 internships before I started freelancing, but the amount of learning and exposure I got in my first month of freelancing was way more than 2 years of doing internships. So I thought maybe this is what I should take forward. And then I started doing more projects, started learning what freelancing actually is. Because at that point of time, I had like a notion that, freelancing is for people who don't get jobs. That is so wrong. And that is something that people today even have an opinion about, but that is so misguided. But I think I learned a lot about freelancing on the way. I started following writers like Shreya, yourself, like you said, she's also one of my you know, top freelancers, I'd say, that I really look up to. I've looked up to her since day one as well. Because she was one of the first freelancers I noticed on the platform, and one who was actually making a mark in the industry and was close to my age as well, so I could relate with her. So I think that is what got me started in freelancing, and since then it's been like a very crazy ride, from getting no projects to getting a number of projects, from being the alone writer to kind of gathering a team of 5 writers, and today I'm working with them. So like transitioning from a person who wanted an internship to a freelancer to a solopreneur, it's been a very great journey. I'm close to completing 2 years, but it feels like I've been doing this for over 5 years, because it's been a while. There's been so much learning. There have been so many ups, downs, failures, achievements, just so many clients, so many good interactions, so many bad interactions, so many good experiences, so many ugly experiences, that it's been I'd say more than growing me professionally, freelancing has contributed to growing me personally as an individual itself. It's like shaped me into the person I am today. So I think that is why freelancing is like, I'd say, it led to like a pivotal turn in my journey of not just being a freelancer, but being a person as a whole. So yeah, that's how it's been like for the past almost 2 years.
I totally agree with the point you made that like people should not consider it like if you don't get a job you should do freelancing. So in my case like even I got a job and still I am like pursuing freelancing because it's something your skill will be like you will be skilled up and you will get to learn a lot. You get to talk to some amazing people just like I'm doing right
Yeah.
now. Like freelance
Yeah.
gives you so many opportunities which other things might not give you.
Yeah.
So I also heard that you are about to like two big goals of Komal in 2022 is one is starting your own YouTube channel and then like
Yeah.
scaling your solopreneur business to an agency business. So can you tell me more about like what kind of content can we like expect in your YouTube channel?
Right, that's a very good question. So I think YouTube has been on my list since last year, but I was super busy in navigating the freelance business that there wasn't really any time for it. This year, my business is going to be more on the side of automation and doing the most important projects, and kind of growing my team along with my business and also the personal brand. So YouTube is something that I'm still strategizing, but it's going to be somewhere in between of sharing tips for freelancers. Like a lot of times, like the only reason I wanted to start a YouTube channel was because I receive so many repeated questions every day on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, that it's not easy to give like detailed answers to them. For example, all those generic questions around how do I price my services as a freelancer, how do I build my portfolio, how do I get clients. Now these are things that I have already created content on all my social media platforms, but still there's no detailed and like a solidified answer for that, because I cannot explain it in 30 seconds on an
Hmm.
Instagram reel, or like in a character limit on LinkedIn, or like in the very limited character limit on Twitter. So it's not easy to do that, right? And so that's where long form content comes in. Like I said, when it comes to writing projects that are personal, I first thought I'll start like a blog page, but that's not possible because I have so much writing work that it's not so easy to do that for myself also, right? So I thought maybe since I like interacting with people one on one, maybe I can start a YouTube channel. That's much more feasible, and I'm actually building a setup for that in my home as well, where I'm keeping like a separate corner for recording, and I'm gathering all the equipment and everything. I already have a podcasting set, I have a DSLR, I have everything ready. I just need to put it all together. Um, Apart from that, the kind of content, it's going to be a mix of sharing my journey, sharing content which is a kind of derived from my experiences, sharing tips for freelancers, and also it's going to be a talk show with the top content marketers and writers in the industry, located globally. I have a lot of network, I have a huge network, so I'm kind of thinking of leveraging it to kind of build up my YouTube channel and kind of um, bring so many thoughts around freelancing and the freelance community in general that Indian freelancers do not have access to. So in the past year, or I'd say in the past 7 8 months, I have completely changed my worldview of what freelancing is, what you can do with that, what's the best way to shape your business, and so on. Because honestly, when I started freelancing about 2 years back, I had very, very different opinions because I was truly influenced by what everyone around me thought. So, like, I was surrounded by Indian freelancers. I was speaking to them. I still speak to them. But what I found was that there were a lot of limiting beliefs. There were a lot of limiting beliefs around pricing, around how you should structure your business and everything, which expanded to a very, very different level when I started interacting with global freelancers. There are so many ways to work, there are so many ways to price your services, there are so many ways to structure your business, which I think a lot of Indian freelancers are not aware about, and that is
Hmm.
why they struggle to kind of scale it to like very substantial amount. For example, it's not a goal to reach $1 million as a freelancer, but Indian freelancers don't believe that it's even possible. But I've
Hmm.
seen people do that, right? I have first-handedly spoken to people who've done that. So I kind of want to bring all those strategies here, kind of want to talk about all of that here. So people here understand that, what, freelancing is something which is very sustainable, very profitable, and it's not so difficult to scale it. You just need to have the right kind of information. You just need to structure it the right way. You need to have an entrepreneurial mindset and all of these things, right? So the YouTube channel is mainly going to focus on my experience and converting them into tips and kind of sharing them, and also kind of bringing on the experiences and worldviews and like perspectives of people located globally around freelancing and content marketing in general. So that is what I plan to do with the YouTube channel specifically.
Yeah, and I am looking forward to subscribing that first.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm just right now, I think I'm navigating the freelance bootcamp that I'm planning. It's going to be around in the last week of February. But once that is sorted, I plan to start my YouTube efforts before the first 6 months, like before June at least, so that I can kickstart it all together. But yeah, I'm still kind of strategizing it.
I also read so many of your LinkedIn posts, and that's why I just want to see what kind of touch that you are gonna give to your own
Yeah.
first book.
Yeah, yeah, I think ebook has also been on my list since the last year. But like I said, so many personal projects and so many client work and kind of organizing that all together was very overwhelming for me as well. But my first ebook is definitely going to be on cold emailing. I get so many questions around it, and honestly, when I started cold emailing, and even still, if I do it, I have never seen any ebook talking about like a very, very structured pitching process, especially for writers. That's what I'm planning to do, especially for writers, right? So that is what I'm looking to develop an ebook around. It's not going to be super long, but it's going to be like super crisp and super actionable so that, a freelancer can start implementing it right away. But yeah,
Hmm.
YouTube, ebook, like more digital products on my list for 2022.
Yeah, even that is something in my bucket list to buy, because even I struggle a lot when it comes to cold emailing. But the way you structurized your newsletters, even boring email, your emails like stand out.
That is very sweet. Yeah, I also need to resume the newsletter. So, like I said, my personal projects they slag a lot because of other commitments and like client projects. But since 2022, since in 2022, automation is my goal and kind of putting my systems more on autopilot and kind of distributing all my work among my writers as well. I'm planning to hire an intern or a VA also, so I think once that side of the business is structured, I can focus more on content creation and resources then.
I would also like to know from you, like personally, I'm an final year engineering student, and it is like bit very hard for me to like balance my college life and to balance doing podcast, writing LinkedIn, running an YouTube channel, all this stuff. Like, how do you like manage it? In other way, I just want to know from you, how would you personally like manage everything if you start your own YouTube channel, if you start your own agency, like how will you like divide the things and make it easy for yourself?
I think time management is very important here, and creating systems that are repeatable and scalable is very important. So, when I talk about time management, what I've found to be most I think successful or effective is having a themed week. Now, what do I mean by a themed week? So earlier, what I used to do was I used to create a to-do list for the entire week, but that had similar tasks every day. So let's say on Monday, I'm creating outlines, I'm writing, and I'm editing my work. Next day, I'm also doing the same, but for another client. Next day, I'm also doing the same, but for a third client. And that got very monotonous. That took away my creativity spirit, and that did not help manage my work properly. So what I do now is I have theme days. Now this means that on Monday I do not do any writing work. I just create outlines. I schedule all my meetings with clients on Monday. I do all the outlining for all the articles and assigning the work to my writers on Monday. Now on Tuesday I write, but I don't edit any work. I don't create any outlines. I don't assign any work to my writers. On Wednesday I just do the editing. So I've just created themes for the day. If I also start my when I start my YouTube channel again, it will be like a complete one day dedicated to YouTube rather than me creating one part of the video one day, then editing it the next day, then publishing it the next day. That becomes very difficult. Instead, I would like to do it all in one day. Maybe I dedicate the weekend to that. But that is how I like to organize all my processes. And the second thing is creating a system for it. So right now, I also use like a bunch of tools to manage work. So for example, I have Notion where I have all my content ideas noted down. I have my swipe file on Notion. I have my client master sheet on Notion. I have my to-do list on Notion. On Trello, I manage work with my writers. On Google Sheets, I manage my client, finances and what's coming in every month, how to optimize my revenue. So kind of creating systems for that so everything is laid out in front of me is very important. So even if you're managing like multiple things, for example, studies plus freelancing plus YouTubing or podcasting, I think time management is super important. Having a themed week and kind of figuring out what kind of time management works for you. I've tried the Pomodoro method to kind of focus my attention, but that doesn't really work with me. I like to keep it very, I'd say, agile and then see how I can mold it to my preference more. And I've also tried to kind of follow a morning routine because I've seen that people do that. For example, wake up at 8 a.m. and everything. That is not me, and I've made my peace with that. I think a lot of people kind of have a notion, a predisposed notion that if you wake up early in the morning, that's how you're going to be successful. It's not possible with me. I'm not able to do that. I've tried and failed. I've tried and failed. So that's not who I am anymore, and I've made my peace with that. My day starts at 2 p.m., and I'm perfectly fine with that. I also do not have any meetings before 2 p.m. All of my clients know that I'm not going to be responding to the emails or scheduling calls. So that's completely fine. So I think time management is also about finding a method that works specifically for you, not for everyone else. So like that's what I even do when I share my strategies with everyone. I tell them this works for me. You should try this, but I cannot guarantee that this will work for you because you need to experiment, try different things, and then find what works specifically for you as a person, as a professional, and generally what, because there are so many things that affect your daily life. You have your personal life, you have studies, you have your personal projects, you have your professional work to be done. Just kind of manage it all together through a system that works for you, right? So all of these things I think really contribute to the results you get and how you're able to structure all of these things together to manage them simultaneously.
by telling that like you made me feel relief. Even I would have to like make peace with getting up and not following up with a routine. That's fine, but doing
Yeah.
your work in the given time, it is more important, and with
Yeah,
quality.
exactly. Yeah, very true.
And that's the one thing like I loved about you, that like I am a executionist who does the task very fast, and but you focus on quality. Even if you don't post sometime in a week, you are okay with that,
Yeah,
and but
I'm
you
completely
never
fine with it.
compromise with the quality.
Right, that is something that you make peace with over time. So I think earlier, even on Instagram or LinkedIn or anything, I was even with the newsletter, I was like, okay, let's just do it. Let's just do it. Like let's make a reel every day. Let's post on LinkedIn every day. But what happened was I did not enjoy because I was just doing it for the sake of
Exactly.
consistency. I agree that consistency is what works in the long term, but not if I don't enjoy it, right? The newsletter also I paused because I was facing some problems with my email marketing software, and that took out the entire joy of creating a newsletter altogether, right? So I was facing problems with my email provider, email service provider. I was using Mailchimp earlier, but I faced some problems with billing and subscribers, and the emails were ending in spam, and I had a conversation with the customer support team, etc., etc. So long story short, is it was just sucking the joy out of the sole purpose of creating a newsletter, right? And so I paused it instead of continuing it with it and not enjoying the work that I was doing. So I think quality above everything. Like consistency matters, yes, but quality also matters. So I think I've reached a point where I can prioritize that. Someone who is just starting out with something might not be able to prioritize quality over consistency. I also believe that once you do it consistently, you get a hang of what quality means and how you can achieve quality in a minimum amount of time, right? So I think both sides to the coin.
Yeah, and like I have also like reduced my friend circle, and I only take advices from people I'm okay with ending up with, and that is why
Right.
I love having this podcast with some amazing minds, to have some open conversations. And
Right.
so like I would like to ask you one question which wasn't trending right now, but you are free to not answer it if you want to. So how does like dating works in freelancing?
Okay. Very interesting question. I haven't been asked about this ever, I would say. But I think I have been grateful to be with a person who's freelancing as well. I haven't really kind of reached out to anyone, or I haven't been reached out by anyone who's looking for like a partner or anything. I've made friends, yes, but I prefer to keep business and kind of pleasure, like people say, very differently. I've just been grateful to find a friend who's also turned into a partner. I don't like the term boyfriend or girlfriend, but a partner. So I've been grateful to have been able to find him, and he's also a writer and a freelancer, so it just seems like a package for me. But we've been together since college. But when I talk about dating and freelancing, I don't have many views about it, but I know a lot of people who found their partners through their professional network. I know a lot of people who found their partners through LinkedIn, that went on to become like just kind of life partnerships, just people kind of entering into marriages through LinkedIn, through Twitter, through their professional network and everything, which is great. But I don't have a lot of opinions around this topic.
No, that is completely fine, and that is so nice of you, because you just don't give answers for the sake of giving it, and you are being
Yeah,
very honest over here, like sharing only
absolutely,
how
there's
much you
nothing
know.
to hide, I think. Yeah.
So I also want to thank you for answering this question, because I didn't know like how like you would react to this question. Uh, so like you took it
That's
positively.
completely fine. So I think, yeah, so I think I believe that there are two ways to kind of reveal your personal life. There are people who keep try and also want to keep their personal life out of their professional life, but ultimately you have one life. Personal is a part of it, professional is a part of it. So I think having a balance of both is important. So even on social media, it's Whenever I post on Instagram, like LinkedIn is a completely different platform, but Instagram is a place where I like to keep it professional, but at the same time, I'm also sharing tidbits of my personal life. I'm
Hmm.
sharing images with my family, with my friends, just everything, right? So I think that people relate with you better when you're transparent, when you're authentic, when you don't have anything to hide. But there are also people that prefer to keep their personal life separate from their professional life. I think both ways work. It just how you're wired and how you want to organize your life and kind of portray that on social media. That's just your preference, I'd say. So yeah.
Yeah, even I follow you on Instagram because you are you.
Yeah.
That is why it's completely okay to share a sneak peek of your life, because
Yeah.
even like we can relate to it. Even I was
Yeah.
watching a lot of your stories, you were dancing, a dancing ka story, and
Yeah.
some other like traveling ka story. I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like constantly being in update with your stories, and yeah, recently like I was able to like manage some time and this podcast.
Right.
I would like to like wind off this session with the enlightenment round questions. Uh,
Sure.
so what inspires Komal Ahuja to do everything she does?
I think a lot of people in my network were freelancers who are Indians, who are located globally. My clients, I think I've been very blessed to have found clients that don't just um that I don't just have transactional relationship with. Like I they give me work and they pay me and I submit the work. That's not the kind of relationship I have with my clients. It's a very mutually beneficial relationship. But they push me, they help me grow, they help me understand the mistakes, they help me cover that up and fill that gap and just everything around that. So I think the clients, the network, and also the friends and family. So I think everything around me is an inspiration. I post content on Instagram, people appreciate that. That's a motivation to do more of it. I post something on Twitter or LinkedIn, I see appreciation, people responding, people messaging me in the DMs that this was helpful. It pushes me to do more. I submit work to a client which was very challenging and I'm probably second guessing working with them again, but I receive appreciation from their end and that pushes me to do more. I earn something, I spend that on my family, on my friends, they show gratitude and I see their happiness, it motivates me to earn more. So I think everything around you um, is not supposed to be a transactional relationship. When you turn that and find the small joys out of it, that's what pushes you to do more, and that's essentially what pushes me to earn more, do more, post more, create more content, keep doing what I'm doing, and kind of also find more ways to help people around me.
That's wonderful. And
I'm glad. Yeah.
what is one habit or ritual that is the reason of your success?
I think not giving into what other people feel is the best way to do things and finding it on my own by experimentation. So like I said in the beginning, there were a lot of things that I could have restricted myself to, be it an income goal, be it what I can or cannot do as a freelancer based out of India, or what I'm supposed to do, and kind of experimenting and kind of breaking all those boundaries and then seeing what the world actually has to offer in terms of freelancing, in terms of content marketing, and kind of creating a system that definitely works for me. Definitely checking out what works for other people, being inspired by it, but also creating my own things of doing, my own way of doing things. I think that is what has essentially kind of contributed to success. I'm not there where I want to be yet, but I'm still on the way. But that has definitely pushed me to go more out of my comfort zone, experiment, hear what people are saying, but also see what I can do for myself to make that process work for me. And apart from that, I think consistency with all of this. I might not be consistent with content creation because that's a different side of my business. But when it comes to delivering work, being
Mhm.
consistent with deadlines, quality, and all of those things, those also matter a lot. And I think consistency when it comes to business processes, that plus experimentation has worked out really well.
Yeah, and consistency in your business processes is something that is not clearly visible in front of other people.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
So that is something you know, and that is like making you feel good about yourself.
Yes, of course.
So how can people listening to this podcast get in touch with you?
You can find me on any social media platform. Honestly, I'm available on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, email. But I would say the best place to find me is and get a response from me is either on email or on Twitter. Instagram, my DMs get lost unless and until we've had a conversation before and we have an ongoing thread. It's difficult for me to like kind of respond to new people because honestly, Instagram has a very cluttered
Yeah.
direct message structure. There are hidden message requests, there are
Hmm.
additional message requests, general and primary boxes. It's difficult to navigate that. So either LinkedIn, Twitter, or Gmail is the best place to contact me. But otherwise, you can find my content on all of these platforms.
Yeah, I
But I'm
will
most active on Twitter
link them.
nowadays. So yeah, sure.
And this is my personal personal favorite thing. I am asking you. I love to collect quotes. So what are some quotes that that is driving you?
Um, I think one quote that has really stuck by me since the time I started freelancing was around age. So received a lot of, I would not say criticism, but opposition when I started freelancing. I was, I think, 20 years old then. So I think that there was one quote that stuck with me, which said, "Age is just a number. It doesn't have any significance unless and until you're a bottle of wine." So that is one quote that has really stuck with me. Apart from that, it's just I think just quotes that I make for myself. For example, create systems for yourself that are repeatable and scalable to sustain a profitable freelance business. So I think just quotes around all of these things, which anyone can always find on my Twitter profile as well. That those are the quotes that are generally that push me forward. But I think that the age one really stuck by me, and it's still there with me because it's overwhelming who are successful but who are at a certain age. So I know many people who are successful because they've been freelancing for 10 years. Freelancers who, or anyone, maybe like a content creator on YouTube or Instagram who's been successful because they've reached a certain age in their life, which is not true, right? You can achieve success when you're at a young age. You can achieve success or start something when you're at an older age. So I think age should not be a defining factor, like a determining factor when you're trying to do something. So I think that is what really stuck with me since day one.
That's awesome. And uh, so I just want some book recommendation from you because I love reading
Book,
books.
right. So I think one book that I'm really liking right now that I'm reading it, is Atomic Habits. So I'm not a very habit forming individual. It's not easy for me to kind of adapt to habits and then stay consistent with them. But this book has like really good formulas, examples which show you how forming habits can help and just kind of gives you like a roadmap to make them. So I think Atomic Habits is one thing that every person, be it a freelancer, a student, a content creator, a business owner, or even just a full-time employee, can actually read and implement in their day-to-day life and actually see success with it. So I think one is Atomic Habits, and the second book I was say is the 4 hour work week.
By Tim
So
Ferriss.
I think, yes, exactly. So I think I've really been trying to manifest and also work towards a life where I can earn more by working less number of hours. That is exactly what I plan to do and have to do if I want to double down on my content creation efforts as well. I'm planning to even go for higher studies this year. So if I really want to do that and make sure that freelancing is still profitable for me, I have to find a way to kind of dedicate less time to it, but make more money out of it. So I think that is one thing, one book that I find myself going back to again and again, and that would be beneficial for you if you want to start a business, if you have a business of your own, if you want to double down on your efforts but earn more out of it. So I think these two books are really good for both your mindset, for expanding your mindset, for forming habits, for automating things and kind of saving up on time, but at the same time making sure that your revenue is being optimized and you're seeing good numbers with it. So yeah.
Thank you so much for suggesting it. Actually, I have read both the books, but still I failed to like implement all the lessons out of it. But
Yeah,
I think soon I will be like applying as much as values from those two books. And
absolutely.
yeah,
They're good
and
books to kind of revisit. Yeah,
yeah, sorry for cutting you down. Yeah,
no problem.
I'm a bit an excited kind of person when I'm talking to some amazing minds.
That is not a problem. I'm really glad.
So I just want to ask one last question. Suppose tomorrow all of a sudden you get a chance to speak at a place, and that place has a greatest stage of all time. You are given 1 minute to talk in that stage, and that stage is surrounded by people of all ages, all youngsters, and the whole generation. If you would get one chance to give a 1 minute life lesson of yours, what would you tell all of those watching you and like hearing you out curiously?
That is a very good question. That's a very good question. I think the only thing that I really live by, that I tell to people around me, be it friends, be it family, be it people online, is that take chances. Don't be afraid to shoot a shot. I think a lot of times, or I think I wouldn't be here if I didn't take chances when I was supposed to take them. I think life is very, very short to not do things that you like doing, not kind of try things which you're afraid to do, and not step out of your comfort zone into a zone that is dangerous for you, that you think is not consistent, might not get you good results, but it's worth the risk. So I think don't be afraid to take leaps of faith on yourself, of people around you that you trust or that you have a gut feeling are worth trusting, and kind of take your chances. I think honestly, if I had kind of if I stayed put with the notion that the world had set for me, like a college student getting out of college, getting an internship, going into a job, then kind of getting out of that job and starting a business, that was the traditional path that was set out for me, that is set out for every person on this earth traditionally. Like everyone still, I know a lot of people who still believe in that traditional notion of doing things. Like you get out, you're kind of born, you go to school, you get out of school, you get into college, you get out of college, you either do higher studies or you get a job, and then you get out of job, start a business, or you keep doing a job until the age of retirement, then that's it for you. So I think that is the notion that a lot of people, or that is the pattern that a lot of people are today trying to break out of. And I recommend everyone to do that. It's good to do a job, it's good to freelance, it's good to do internships, it's good to start a business, but I think everyone should have an experience doing everything. So for example, I've been to college. I know that I'm not yet done with learning. So I'm again going for higher studies, even though I have a profitable freelance business. But just because I'm not yet done with learning yet, right? Not with traditional learning. So I also have a freelance business. Now I've never done a job. I also plan to do a job, but I don't want to quit my freelance business. I also have plans of starting a product based agency, although I already have a service based agency right now. So I honestly believe everyone should get a chance to do everything they want, experiment with everything, try everything, and then pick one thing that you like doing and that you think you can do for the rest of your life. And even so, you can still kind of experiment with things, but it's very important to kind of shoot your shot. You want to be a dancer, go ahead. You don't think that that's going to be profitable, still go ahead. You want to be a painter at the age of 50, do it. You want to start writing at the age of 40, you want to build a freelance business out of it, do it. Just anything that you want to do, you get a service based or a product based idea at the age of 55, do it. So I think it's just that people are so afraid to do things out of the norm, out of which people think are traditional, that I think a lot of people lead their lives thinking that, you know what, if I stray out of what is considered normal, I will be either called crazy or people are going to judge me or I'm not going to see success with it. And that is why people kind of hold back. But it's honestly those people that actually got out of their comfort zone and actually took a leap of faith are the people that we see successful today. So I think it's really important to trust yourself, to go with your gut, to try things that you want to do, and actively build a life on something that you enjoy doing, which is at the same time profitable enough to lead the life that you want to lead. So that's what I would say.
That's so insightful. I will listen this last part of the recording again because
Yeah, sure.
I love the answer these people give me in the last part. I asked this to every person I interview, and so far I think I interviewed 13 people, and
Okay.
already I learned a lot from all of these people. And your this insight was really helpful, and this is something I am unconsciously doing for myself, and I think today a lot of people will realize this.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
So I think this podcast has come to an end, and thank you once again for joining and being my guest. I have learned a lot from you, and thank you.
Thank you so much for having me here. You had some very, very interesting questions, some very unique questions, I would say. But I'm glad we could do that after a lot of scheduling and following up. So thank you for staying consistent with the follow-ups as well. And sorry for kind of delaying it by a long time. But I'm glad this happened. And yeah, thank you so much for having me here again.
Thank you.